Land Pro Equipment's High Value Crops Division, and today we have Eric Hernandez with us. He's been working with us this week for training, and we're going to show you how easy it is to switch from the EOLE 2003 Row Grape Sprayer to the picking head. Everyone right now is thinking about getting ready for harvest, so we're going to walk you through the steps on how to do that. Eric, you want to show us how that's done?
Yeah, so thanks for the intro. So I'm going to show you guys how easy and simple it is to swap between tools. So real quick, while we're right here, we have this removable ladder that is normally stowed right here. So you can get up and disconnect the one hydraulic connection that is called a monocoupler. So it's all the hoses going into one big connection with one big latch. And then on the other side of the tractor, we have the electrical connection that we need to disconnect. And then before we can physically unhook the machine, we have 3 hook points where we have to remove these red safety pins so the machine can actually unhook. So I'm going to do for right now, as you can see, the machine is up in the air. So for simplicity, we just left the lowerings on. So that's why the machine's up a little bit higher. I'm going to climb up on the ladder, disconnect the hydraulics. We're going to go to the other side, disconnect the electrical, and then remove the pins, start the engine, and then we'll be able to unlatch the machine, the sprayer from the tractor and drive away.
While they're doing that, Eric, are we able to go ahead and put the shipping stand legs in?
Yeah,
the stand legs?
While I'm disconnecting the hydraulics and the electrical, we're gonna have some guys put in the 4 leg stands for the machine. So there's 4 corners, one right here, 2 kind of in the back middle, and then one directly on the other side in a similar location as this one. Now, so it captures, we have this, what's called a drain coupler. So when you remove the main hydraulic coupler, it has a place for it to catch all the oil. There's a green hose here that is attached to a jug down below to catch all the oil, so then you can dispose of it properly later. So I'm going to remove the coupler now from the tractor, and now I have it in its storage position on this drain coupler over here. I'm going to close the connection on the tractor, very, very important, all the way till its second latch. And that's how easy it is to disconnect the hydraulic part of it. Now we're going to go to the other side, disconnect the electrical. Okay. All right, so Dylan right now is going to put in one of the legs, the leg stands for the sprayer. This is one of 4. So he's going to slide it in to find a position to match the holes for the leg in comparison to the frame of the machine. So he's putting the pin in right now, securing it to the machine. And then once we have all 4 legs in, so one here, one on the other side, and 2 on the rear. So there's one right here and one directly on the other side over there, 4 leg stands. I'm going to climb up on the cab right now, disconnect the electrical. The machine's going to recognize that there's no tool disconnected. And at that point, we'll be able to pull all the red pins. So there's a total of 3 hitch points. And then the machine will allow me to unhook, disconnect the machine. I'm going to drop the tractor down and drive away. So do that real quick for you. So I personally like to just come up into the cab, open the window, and then kneel on the seat. And we have one main bulkhead connector with the red lever. Makes it pretty simple to disconnect. One gray connector, one ground connector, and then 3 camera connections. For the 3 cameras that are located for all 3 rows. Just drape that over there. If you're going to store the machine outside, it is recommended to put all the electrical connections in a bag to keep all the moisture and debris out of it. If it's going to be in the shop, it's not as big of a problem. So now, at this point, we're more or less ready to pull the red pins and disconnect and pull away from the machine. So what we're going to do now is go ahead and pull all 3 hitch point red safety pins so we can disconnect. So we have one right here, and then you can just set it in that position for now, because we'll be using them again later when we hook up the picking head to it. There's one on the other side, and then there's 2 up top here in the middle. All right, so now that we have all 4 of our leg stands in place, locked with the pins, and we have our 3 hitch point safety pins removed. We have our sprayer disconnected hydraulically and electrically. We can now hop in the cab, set the machine down. So right now I already have the machine making contact on all 4 stands. You don't want to put an excess amount of pressure, just enough to make contact on the ground. So I'm going to hop up in the cab right now. The tractor's running. I'm going to unlatch the machine and pull away. And it's just as simple as that with no tools, and when you get pretty efficient at it, you can do a tool swap in about 30 minutes. All right, so we got the sprayer disconnected and we're more or less getting set up to hook up the picking head because, you know, it is getting close to that season. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna back the tractor up to the picking head, more or less being centered within the stands. And then I'm gonna go up, unlatch the hooks so I can then hook with the 3 hook points, latch the picking head to the tractor, and then I'll be able to connect it hydraulically, electrically, and put in the red safety pins so the machine doesn't become detached. All right, so I'm pretty much up on the machine right now, getting ready to hook it. So I'm gonna click the icon on the screen. It's gonna engage the cylinders. We're gonna latch the machine, put the red safety pins in, hook the picking head hydraulically and electrically, and then we're gonna be good to go. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit that button right now. All right. Now the machine is physically latched to the tractor. We're gonna put in one of the red safety pins from this side. There is another safety pin on the same location on the other side of the wheel arm. And then there's these 2 for the center hitch point that we're gonna install. So the 3rd hitch point with these 2 pins is right up top here in the middle. You can just climb inside the picking head. And you may be wondering for safety, oh, the tractor's running, but because the picking head is not hooked electrically or hydraulically, there's no risk of going inside the picking head right now because there's absolutely nothing that would turn on. All right, so now we have the machine physically connected to the tractor, the picking head. So we got our red safety pins in, so we're gonna get ready to pull the legs out. On the picking head though, we will need a couple of wrenches to loosen up the clamps, and the purpose of the clamps is just to keep a fixed point so the tube doesn't slide in. Unlike on the sprayer, we had pins. So there are a couple of 19 mil wrenches. Landon's gonna loosen up this inner clamp here after I raise the machine. That way it relieves some of the pressure off the leg, and then we'll be able to slide it out once he's done loosening the clamp. The other part where you might need a tool, depending if you tighten down the bolt, is for the back right here. You can just, put the nut on hand tight, or you can give it a couple of turns to make sure it's secured. But you have one here, one back there, the leg right there, and then on the same position on the other side. So we're going to go ahead and raise the machine to relieve the pressure and pull the legs out. All right, so Landon's got it all loosened up. So now we can go ahead and pull it out. We got the weight of the machine off. Just simple as that. Now we can set that aside and put it, on a pallet so we can save it for the off season when we disconnect the picking head. And then for this rear one, I'm gonna have to lift up the machine a little bit more because this is not gonna come out all the way. So I'm gonna go ahead and lift the machine up a little bit more so we can go ahead and pull that one out. And now, after removing the other leg on the side, all we have left to do now is connect the machine hydraulically with that big monocoupler, as we call it. And then we have one main electrical connection, a ground connection, and a camera connection. All right, so we're gonna get ready here to connect the machine hydraulically. So we have one big monocoupler that has all these hoses going to one connection. And then we just have one little quick coupler off to the side that goes right here. So right over here is the tool block where our big monocoupler goes. So I'm gonna unlatch that. Now my connection's exposed, so I'm gonna take this out of its drain coupler. This is where it collects all the oil so it doesn't just drain onto the ground. Bring it over, line it up in the notches, and then go all the way to the second latch, and then cover the cap, which is very important, so it doesn't collect any debris. So when you do cap the monocoupler, you're not introducing contaminants to the system. And then last, just this little tiny coupler here, close that, connect it right here. And then you're connected hydraulically. All right, so we're up here in the cab, and now we're gonna do the last few connections, which are the electrical connections. I personally like to just kneel on the seat and go through the window. We have our electrical connections right here. I'm gonna go ahead and grab the harness from the machine. So you have your bulkhead connector with the latch. You have your round connector, a ground connector, and a camera connection. So I'll do that real quick for you. So open up the latch with the red bulkhead connector. It's over here towards the right side. You can only go on one way. And then latch it closed. Oh, there we go. Secured. We have our ground connection there. We have our camera connection right here. And then we have our round connector, which can be a little tricky. There's two gray connectors, and it's going to be the one towards the engine of the machine. So you just rotate it until you find the position. Oh, there it goes. And then rotate the lock, and then twist it, locked like that, and you're ready to go. And now the machine will recognize that a picking head is connected. One last step, so you get full functions from the machine, is we have to open a valve. Now, what should come with your machine is this little valve handle that is removed, because in the closed position, it will slowly work its way down. So we need to get to the valve, which is positioned right up there near the tool block. Very easy to open the hood. You have a little pull wire right here that opens this latch, and then a little tab on this side. And now the hood comes off. You can gently set it on the ground. Now it might be kind of hard to see, but I'm going to use this. And right now there's a valve and it has a line on it and it's horizontal, indicating that it's closed. So I'm going to do is I'm going to open it by rotating clockwise. Now it is open and the line is vertical, indicating that the valve is open. And now we'll have full functions from the picking head. All right, so now that we have the machine connected hydraulically, electrically, we opened the one valve in the engine. We can now double check and make sure that our machine works and that the HMI or the screen recognizes that there's a tool connected. I'm going to go ahead and start it up. Now it takes a few seconds for the screen to start up. Perfect. So I have my menus for the picking head. I'm going to go ahead and lift the bin, or both. All right, more or less, we have verified that the picking head is functioning. We'd obviously have to go through the rest of the functions, but for the sake of example, the machine is in working order. It is a brand new machine, so that's how you would do a tool swap and make sure your tool works.
Check out our website at landproequipment.com and look for the Orchard and Vineyard section.